It's really easy to spend so much time working in the ministry that you fail to plan to work on the ministry. And then when you want to work on the ministry, it's kind of overwhelming. Where do you even begin? My name is Trey Van Camp. I am a church planter, really just a pastor now. We founded our church back in 2016, and we're still portable, so still kind of facing a lot of those obstacles of a smaller church. We're just at like the breaking 200 mark, but we've learned a lot along the way. Today's topic is, how do you kind of view your ministry altogether? As a pastor, especially a lead pastor, it's my job to cast vision and direction, but also to make sure we are just stewarding the moment and stewarding our season. And honestly, it feels like you fix one problem or issue in your church, and then you have this huge gaping hole somewhere else. So I actually was reading a couple of years ago by Donald Miller. I really enjoyed his Story Brand guide or book about how to tell stories. And so I actually read another one of his books a couple years ago called How to Grow Your Small Business. And I thought it was helpful because I think smaller churches, and I don't even know what small church means anymore. I've been at church of 400 and someone calls it small. If you grew up in a small church, that's not small, whatever. Smaller churches, the majority of churches, which aren't mega churches, usually kind of base their model off of massive churches. Right? We take our cues from these pastors that we're all listening to online. So I actually thought, hey, maybe this advice on small businesses will help me understand and frame my small church. And I think it did. And to be honest, I actually don't even remember too much of the book. The main takeaway I had from it was he used an airplane analogy. And so I'm not going to be sharing this even on the screen without just showing it on the iPad, because this is copyrighted material. I literally used his image of the airplane and then wrote my own words around it. So this is for my own personal use. I am not selling this, Donald Miller. In fact, if anything, by making this video, people are going to go buy your book. So please be kind. And I'll take this video down if you need me to. So I'm just going to show on my iPad the 6 different ways we are making sure we are working on the ministry, that these 6 areas are going well within the life of our church. Here's step number 1. He talked about what's really important is the cockpit. So in the cockpit, I just define that as doctrine and direction. So I have to constantly be asking myself, am I stewarding the teaching well? Is the doctrine good? Are there people falling into false theology that I need to address? Am I falling into false theology, right? Paul says, watch your life and doctrine closely. One of the 3 ways pastors fail is heresy. They begin to believe in the lies of the enemy through various things. And so for us in the cockpit, I'm asking myself the hard questions and working on the ministry, thinking, what is the vision? What am I casting? What are we becoming through my teaching? What is the year-long journey, the 3-year-long journey? How is this teaching relevant to this cultural moment? And so the cockpit is obviously the person who is determining where we're headed. And so you can't really go very far if you are directionless. Your people will feel that. I feel like your series, not only should your teachings build off of each other, but your series, as much as possible, is building off of each other. That's been a huge desire of ours here in 2024. And I got so excited because a couple of people from our church are noticing that and they're saying that out loud. And that's a huge blessing. So number 1 is the cockpit. The second thing, though, is the right engine, which I would say is location and facility. So we have to constantly be asking the question, are we creating safe and hospitable environments for newcomers? Are they lost? Do we have clear signage that communicates our values, but also direction? Are we eliminating confusion or adding confusion? We are a portable church, and so there's obviously pros and cons to that. But with our location, we have to be asking, are we having enough signs out front to let them know a church is meeting here? When they get on property, are they confused? Do they know what each step looks like? And part of that, we created a Plan Your Visit video to help people understand this location. The facility itself, we have a deacon of facility at our church that makes sure, are we taking care of the property? What can we add? The most recent addition for our church is we added a mother's room, and we actually blessed the school with the TV so we can stream our service in there live during the service. Those are location and facility. If you come from my kind of tribe, you actually don't make a big deal about environment because it's just about the word of God. But I have learned more and more excellence eliminates distraction. And I don't want people distracted from the word of God. And so if we're excellent, most of those things will go unnoticed. But if it's not excellent, it's all the people will think about. I was overwhelmed. I had anxiety coming in. I didn't know how to get in there off of the street. So we spend a lot of time and money and effort to make sure our location and facility is as best as possible. Now, that's the right engine, so you can't go very far without the right engine, but just as important as you can't go very far without the left engine. So we have described the left engine as service flow and experience. And so this is something we're thinking through more and more. Are we creating a service that allows people to take each next step into the life of Jesus? Are we actually creating moments where people feel comfortable to come forward and pray? Is our intro song helping set the tone? Is our response time too fast, too slow? And so the left engine, the service flow, the experience of the person, not just the newcomer, which is very important, but the person who's been coming for so long. And so we have to strategically think through the flow of the service. We have to think through the time. We are adding more and more to our church stories. So I really think it's powerful when we have testimonies as much as possible, but that means that's more time added to the service. So we have to think about that. That's the left engine. So far, we've gotten the cockpit, which is doctrine and direction, the right engine, which I think is importance on location and facility, the left engine, service flow and experience. Now the body. This one is so ignored. And I think you can't grow without it. The body of the plane, those actually people getting into the plane and flying, is onboarding and scheduling. So again, if you're like me and your natural disposition, this isn't fun at all. There's nothing great about systems and making sure people are clear on how to begin to volunteer, but it is utterly important. We need to make sure we're equally distributing people to the right places so there isn't an imbalance that leads to a crash. Looking 30,000 feet, how many need to be in the safety team? How many need to be in the children's team? Which one's lopsided? Is there too much in one place and not enough in another? Are we establishing clear and easy next steps? And so this is where I give so much credit to Mike Santiago with his Breaking 200 course. He's very helpful. Just these two ideas that he makes public on his website. So I feel like I'm not sharing anything that I shouldn't be. But we have how we integrated it for our church is every first Sunday is a party with the pastors. We share our 5 values at our church. Comment below if you want me to explain that more of how we do that. And every second Sunday is growth track. And we used to make it more complicated. In this last year, we said, okay, growth track is just 2 things. It's not 8 things. It's not a full strategy. It's 2 things. Here's all the ways you can serve and begin today, and here's all the groups and how we run them and how you can join groups in service. And so that's our onboarding process. It's been amazing to us that people are quickly joining and quickly coming back and serving because we made it clear. If you ever want to take that next step, first Sunday is for all the newcomers. Second Sunday is for the people who want to actually begin to join a group or serve. So it's my job as a pastor to make sure those big vision things are happening, but we also have a deacon of operations. So the deacon of operations is making sure everybody's scheduled. There's so many moving pieces. He has just got such a gifted mind for that. Everything's on a spreadsheet. So those things have to be well thought out and constantly nourished. So that's the body of the plane. But now you need the wings. You can't go very far. You can't fly without the wings. I think the wings are what maximize all of this energy, what maximize all of these things that we're doing. And it would be outreach and marketing. Outreach and marketing is crucial. And so we are wanting to create opportunities to reach our neighborhoods, our schools, our workplaces. We have outreach events such as soccer camp and things of that nature, but also realizing we are not a mega church, so we're not going to there's these certain outreach events that we can't do. We can't do these huge festivals where we spend thousands and thousands of dollars. That's just not who we are. And to be honest, if 5,000 people come and 1,000 of them come that Sunday, we don't have the systems to hold them, right? And so we want to do more life on life kind of outreach, 100 children or less for like a soccer camp, a lot more intentional. But marketing is huge. So we run ads every single day. I spend $5 on one ad, and I spend another $5 on another ad every single day. So one ad says 3 reasons why you shouldn't come to our church, and another ad is how you can actually plan your visit and what it looks like to join us on a Sunday morning at Queen Creek Junior High. Marketing's huge. We had 3 new families this Sunday that said they came because of the ads. We had 2 people come this last Sunday because of the signs on the street. So that helps give us life. That really helps us propel forward. And the last one that honestly I was so depressed by and didn't talk about enough or think about enough in the beginning days is the fuel tank. The fuel tank is finances and fundraising. So finances and fundraising is massive. Honestly, I think a lot of church planners are really good at this. I was always very poor at this. That's not how my brain works, but God has been growing me in this area. We're actually doing a whole Form by Generosity series in the time of me making this because I now see it as a discipleship issue. I see it as a way to help grow people in their hearts. And so I have a lot more excitement about it. But also it's so important for a fuel tank to have reserves. So we have that concept about how much money we think we should have saved. We want to have a certain amount of money saved for the opportunity when a building comes or when land comes available. We want to be able to say, yeah, we're ready for this and we can get this ball rolling. So that's stuff we're talking about with our deacon of finance. So all of this is really helpful for us to see how are we doing in the ministry as a whole. Which part of the plane isn't doing well? What's amazing about an airplane is you need all 6 of these elements to go well. You can have everything great. It's just like Paul's analogy with the body. Right? So the plane can be perfect, but if there's no pilot, the thing's going to crash. You can have the greatest engine in the world, but if there's no wings, it's not going to fly. And so those are the 6 ways. Comment below, what do you think I'm missing in this? What are the 6 ways for you to work on the ministry? This is not an exhaustive list of all the different functions of the ministry, but for me, it helps me look 30,000 feet and see where the holes are and how I can best minister to my congregation. If you enjoy content like this, let me know down below and make sure you subscribe. Thank you for watching today's video. This is the video I think you should watch. This is the video YouTube says you should watch.